So yeah, I can't really like. Sometimes I start thinking and I start talking. You know, look good as fuck. I'm a little tie dye. Right. I can't really. Sometimes I just start talking and shit, and I forget where I'm at and shit because not where I'm at, but I forget what I'm talking about or whatever. I don't know, sometimes I start talking and it's just me thinking out loud and really like conversating with myself and responding to my own thoughts and shit. You know, some of the questions I have because I truly believe like at the end of the day, like we know everything, and since life is simple in its truest form, you know what I'm saying? We know everything we need to know. We don't need to fucking like, you know, like everything is encoded to know what things to know, and you know, and the only thing you're really dealing with when it comes to not knowing anything in the world is really dealing with another human and their mischief. You know what I mean? Because you know, it takes one to know one. You get what I'm saying? And so, like, so many words, like when you're dealing with other humans and their diabolical schemes and whatnot, you can figure it out because at the end of the day, like, it really has you going against yourself. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where it comes from. But that's why I talk to myself because, like, you know, this is how I communicate. So this is how I, you know, get information. This is how I linguistically think in so many words. And so, like, I like to think out loud and conversate with myself so I can engage in my own thoughts and whatnot. So I can like actually like answer the questions that I know I actually know, but I just don't want to give myself credit for because I like to be in this mindset of like I don't know nothing. I have to fucking go get government information and stuff for it. I have to have somebody official to like tell me what to do. Like you know what I'm saying? Tell me how to think, and that's like not why you be having so many problems because you know they're just trying to give you the runaround. You're not supposed to let somebody think for you. You're supposed to think for yourself. So yeah, I digress, right? um, but yeah, that's a mouthful. But let me just go ahead and start thinking about this real quick. I was thinking about you know, I'm just walking because I walk through my old town. It's just like, man, so I look at this place and it's like, man, this place changed so much. And you know, I've been graduated from like high school since 2013, and it's 2023. It's about 10 years, and you know, 10 is the sign. It's like the 10th house. You know what I'm saying? 10th is Capricorn. So it's like broadcasting and stuff like that, and numerology. You know what I'm saying? 10 is not like it's the the temptation you get from the devil, but not in a bad way, but in a way where it's just like a proposition or basically it's broadcasting. Broadcasting is basically being seen how you want to be seen. Like, what do you put out there? Your status. Like when you try to dress up nice for a party and stuff like that. Like your style. What's your style? You know what I'm saying? Things like that. That's like broadcasting. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just thinking about it. That was 10 years. And that's a 10-year cycle. And so this is what happens in that 10-year cycle. And it's like I remember around 2012, 2013, the whole world ending thing and all that. I'm not gonna take too into because I really thought about this process before. I'm gonna try to get really real quick into it. And so I'm looking at it, it's like, man, it's like we literally like went from literally like 2012, right? The whole conscious black community in New York, right? It kind of bled out everywhere and whatnot. You know, really coming from the Hebrew Israelites, because a lot of people were still bogged down by that religion shit. You know, but I remember 2013, 2012, a lot of people becoming atheists. You know, and it's the reason why they're becoming atheists is because they really didn't like. You know, that we were living in an information age and we didn't really see it. Like a lot of us were kind of becoming, the next form of adults. Everybody that became like 18, from 16 to like, I would say like 20, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we all around that time period entered a new level of adulthood that had nothing to do with our, you know, parents and our grandparents and other people around us. It had to do with what they had to grow up with. You know what I'm saying? And I know this happens every, year or not, right? It happens every generation. But in a world level, you know what I'm saying? And we could start saying about this and the market that and all that stuff, but in reality, it's the consciousness of the reality of things. So in so many words, it was like at that time we got the information, so people really weren't like stuck on religion. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't really understand why their religion is like more valid than another person's religion or their thought process is more valid, especially when they came into contact with these things at young ages, and we were all taught to, you know, tolerate things like that. And that's the reason why, they say our generation, you know, young people are like always so, you know, sheltered, or not sheltered, but like pansies, because like we think we're supposed to just win things. It's not really like that. It's like we know what we're doing, and but why don't y'all let us allow us to? And like I said, it's just an old regime. It's old mentalities that just doesn't exist anymore. And so because of that, like 2020 happened. It was 2020 vision. Everybody, the spiritual community was talking about that, and it's just like you look at this, and it's like, man, like like I said, and that's just like for the conscious people, spiritually or conscious black people, really, to be honest with you, when it comes down. But we already know, like, we birth the earth, so like everything stems from us. So all these other people, they do it in a different form or fashion. And so when I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the world, it's like, you know, you have, like I said, quote unquote, what I'm saying, um, pale people, right, or whatever, right, that are like putting their information out there, but their information comes from more conspiracy, because they're under the same regime, but this regime doesn't care about anybody. They're under the same world order. So basically, 2013 was all about basically like the Illuminati, and knowing realizing the Illuminati was real, and then 10 years passed, and now broadcasting, right? So it's like it's manifested in a way where now we all know. Like when I was even learning from other master teachers and stuff, we were talking about the Illuminati at that time, between those time spans, like early in the year, probably say like, I don't know, 2014, right? Things like that. 2013, 2012. It was like I was learning, and it was like, wow. And somebody said, my math teacher, saying, if you can check him out on YouTube, Hilltop Network, he says something like, we are the Illuminati. And so that, like, and this is when I was actually learning about the Illuminati a little more, for the first time. And it was like, okay. And I understood that now, because we give this system energy. And so because of that, but in reality, we already knew this, we already knew this. And so that's why it was like, the old regime don't work anymore. See, it's not that they didn't know these things. It was just different, though. They didn't really see it. They had to deal with their immediate surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have the information. We live in the information age now, because that they didn't realize what actually was in front of them, because everything was being hidden by a curtain, or they were just constantly distracted. And plus, sometimes you actually don't have any business to be caring about what's going on the other side of the world. You have to deal with what's in your own backyard. So, in so many words, it's just amazing to me to see. Like I said, back in my old hometown, it's just like everything is just so run down. I'm back in Houston, it could be just maturity, what I'm saying, or just because I went out, and I don't know exactly what it is. But for me personally, I see it as more of a spiritual thing. My God, there's always bees around here. Like I swear, like, and they always come around, like, I don't know. You saw that, right? They always come out of nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, 'cause they start swarming around you. I heard a saw bee, like somebody just like buzzing around my head, bro. Every time I go to a place in our park, and these bees have really been attacking. They really have been attacking, bro. Like, but anyways, let's see if I can get this out, because these bees, man, it's crazy. Like, they really be out here, like bees and wasps and whatnot. They're really out here. I was watching the Animal Planet yesterday, and I played some documentary on Prime Video, and it was talking about the insect world, and how, like, what the mentalities of like flying insects are like. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually very true. They're very territorial, and they will attack, things like that. Like, but it's just like, dang, bro. You know, if you know now about the world and the industrialism and how they're destroying plants. Like I'm saying right now, I'm sitting in my old elementary school, like courtyard area. There's a tree, you know what I'm saying, and it used to be like a little playground here, a patch of grass. You know what I'm saying? About size of like a house, square feet, right? About a house, I think. Um, it's just like crazy to see like how much like like everything is just gone, you know, and it's like they don't even have like real grass here anymore. They have like that football grass. I forgot what that's called exactly, but they have that football grass. Like it's not real grass, bro. and it's like, wow, they don't even have real grass here anymore. And that to me is so weird because I remember growing up as a kid, and my dad, he's from like Africa, so like he's from Nigeria. Uh, so he like grew up around real, real grass. Like my dad used to walk up, you know, to like on the side of where the grass is, right on the sidewalk, right, and then pull up the grass and see. He's like, they don't even have real grass over here. They have to like import grass or something like that. So I'm like, that's when I was younger. I'm like, okay, it's not real grass. So that's kind of like my being in tune with nature thing. Even as a younger age, it's kind of my DNA, you could say, right? And so like now I'm a grown adult. They don't have real grass at all. Like this is not even real grass, like at all. It's not even like a plant, bro. It's plastic. It's like that's crazy to me that we live in a time where it's like they don't even have real grass. Could you imagine being a child and like trying to play out here in the park and they don't even have real grass? Like you don't even know how it feels to dig a hole or you know what I'm saying? Like to get in there and see earthworms and stuff. Like just to be in tune with nature, it's like it's dying off. This is dying off in a way where it's so messed up. It's like people like try to make it seem like, oh, we're gonna like fight off the system one day, and then we'll have like plants everywhere. And again, it's not. It's like dying off in a way where it's like we're becoming more spiritual, really like transcending into like the fifth dimension instead of like coming back into this third dimension. So like the physical world, the physical realm is gonna die. Like it really is gonna die off. Like we're all gonna like it really is dying off. And so that's why because of this, we're like using the technology as a way to imitate our fifth dimensional powers. You know what I'm saying? With this communication, this is like psychic abilities, if you will, right? But you're doing it through the airwaves. It's all that type of stuff, right? And it's just crazy to think about it on that level, where it's like like I said, I'm looking at these things. It's so run down, and things are starting to make more sense. But it's like this system, these people, um, that were fortunate to gain a lot of wealth from the old system are trying to keep their wealth. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep their wealth, and since they're robots, they only can do what they're programmed to do, and so they have to like literally like keep on trying to play the system and try to make the world look a certain way, you know, instead of like allowing it to be what it's supposed to be, and so it's like they do that with everything. Just like they do with this grass, they do it with our minds, our perception of like the way the world's supposed to be, how we fit in the world. And so it's crazy because you look at this and you realize how much it's like, you know, like they keep on doing the same things, and it's so cyclical. It just goes off of so many different tropes that are just it's just so out there, like with the job market and everything. It's like who they move in and the politics of things. You know what I'm saying? Like they're moving in all these Hispanics. You know what I'm saying, from South America, open up the border. You know what I'm saying? But then like saying, but we didn't open up the border though. Like what? Like there's rumors on Facebook, and then we opened up the border, so all these immigrants came to the border, and it's like, what? And then but then the governors of these states are like importing these immigrants in there to work on certain things, to pick up the slack on certain things, but they use them because they don't want to change the moralistic, or idealistic morals or the way people see their their worldview, and so they try to like play it. You know what I'm saying? And so they're doing a lot of weird things now, where it's just like it's just going off of old base things, all the isms and schisms that Rastafarians talk about and stuff like that. It's like really just like the racism. They use the racism thing. It's just you can see that. I'm just saying they're kicking out more darker hued people. You know what I'm saying? And moving in a lot of these, what I'm saying, more paler people. And it's not just about that. It's not like that necessarily, but it is based off of, like I said, the white supremacy idealism that they got their wealth off in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So they're using that as a way to do it. I mean, think about it. They talk about the Native Americans. We already know the Native Americans are so-called Hispanics, and so they move them down from California area all the way down to Mexico, and now they're moving them back up pretty much because why? Because they moved them down so they can establish themselves there, and now they're moving them back up. You hear what I'm saying? So they can basically profit off of them. You know what I'm saying? And it's things like small things like this that it's just mind blowing because it's like, but the way they're doing it, how they're doing it, it's not really gonna end up in a good situation. But the way they're doing it, it's recyclable. You know that they want to, change the way people are like. They don't want to not change, but they want to reestablish what they've already established. But because we live in the information age now, it doesn't really make sense. You know what I'm saying? But they have to like do that because the only way they can do that is if they go off of your generational curses or the fabrication of what's going on. They have to make things up basically. And put you in a situation where you feel as though like this is your only choice you could do. And so because of that, it's like they're messing things up for you. But now we live in the information age where you have to use that information to get out of these situations and stuff like that. And so that's really what's going on right now, you know, when it comes to things. And it's just like, it's crazy just to see like how, you know, sometimes some people, their lives just really just, it's just, a lot of their lives is just fought against them. Like a lot of times, it's crazy to sometimes see as we become an adult how the world was really you were set to you were set to fail. Like they wanted you to fail in life. They made it's everything out here for you to fail, and it's like it's crazy. You're not complaining, but you're just saying the obvious because when you look at it, but you have to look at it from a certain perspective. I'm looking at it like, where I'm from is like I'm from the southwest side. What I'm saying, Houston, Texas, and it's like it's just to see like being over here, and I'm like way in the corner, bro, way in the corner, like from the from the city, if you will, and it's like there's nothing over here, like. It's like a suburb. It's like it's the South. It's like you come out here. It's like you have to be in your house, or it's like there's nothing to do out here. And I'm not saying on a fun level, just in the sense of communication or for a young adult to actually be out here. This is where you come to retire. If anything, or establish yourself. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to obviously buying a house and building up wealth and raising kids. Like that's the only thing that really matters here. It's a good place to grow old too, but it's not a place where you, as a young person that wants to like be something in life and wants to establish themselves, it's not the place you want to be. you know? And so, I just look at like my family and I realize this is why they've been so like sheltered their whole lives, is because they really don't know. And I knew that as soon as I went to college. So I went to college and lived in the dorm for like 2 years. I realized like, man, like how sheltered my family was. How sheltered I was. Like, I didn't even talk to people like that. Like I thought it was kind of weird, and I still think it's kind of weird now, but not so much, depends on who I'm talking to, right? But it's amazing to me, for me to see how much like you know these people, my family don't really like understand like how to actually be around people. You know what I'm saying? And I just realized how much like how complicated it is to live here, like without a car, no car. You know what I'm saying? Like I have no money, and I'm just like around here, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like what am I actually doing? And it's like stupid. My grandma gave me some money, but it's like it's not enough for me to like survive on for a while. But it's just ridiculous, to be honest. You know, there's no like place to use Wi-Fi. You know, things are so far away from each other. It's like, man, you really can't do anything over here. Like, there's just nothing to do over here. You know, it's a very suburban aspect, but like right across the street from the suburban aspect, you get more to the city. So it's like we live on like a division line between like suburban area and like straight city hood ass area. So like you get drawn into the city because that's where you get the most, communication. You can get a job, you can do things. Say there's a bus system. That's where all the grocery stores are at. But like at the same time, like if I was to go into the city, then I'd be around the hood. And that really kind of messed up my life when it comes to dealing with, what I'm saying, poverty and just hood people in general. You know what I'm saying? And so like I never had that foundation like they did in the hood areas to really say this is what I do. Like, and so I smoke hella weed, yeah, but that's because like on some college shit and that's on some like stoner shit, and also just as a person in general, that's just on some like I like herbs, I like plants, I like you know connoisseurship, I like aphrodisiacs, I like trying different things. You know, it's like somebody's like, let's try some caviar. It's like put caviar on a cracker, like you know what I mean? Like okay, I'll do that. You know, it's not like I'm sitting here trying to like you know, like it's weird. Like people think like, oh, you're trying to be higher society. You know, that's something that from what some of the hood say would say, or like you know, or it's just too much. You know, but you know, you just trying caviar. You just realize I like caviar, but it's like you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, let's eat caviar tonight for dinner. Like you know, I don't know. You know, but it's just like it's one of those type of situations. So for me, it's like I just looking at everything and seeing why this is what it is, and so it's just like everything is being like, why am I poor? Why is it happening? It's because it's like they want to utilize you. You know what I'm saying? They keep humans in stock. You know, everything in this nation was created out from slavery, and so that's their mindset. It always will be their mindset is to be slave labor to like make this shit run. You know, and that's why the South people don't like the South or whatever on that aspect because they're not really developed. They still have a very country mindset. They might have the technology, but the majority of people don't have access to it, or at least are capable of like dealing with it. You know, and so that's why it's like you're very stranded out here, you know, and that's because they still rely on like actual like physical labor of things, you know, but they'll take away the physical labor you know, it's almost like so many different aspects is happening right now, you know, just saying like galactic shift, like everything is just turned like counterclockwise. Like if this is the South and this is you know what I'm saying the West. The West now is the South. You know what I'm saying? Like California is Texas now. Californians moved to Texas. Real Southerners, right? You know, moved to like the East Coast, and then you know what I'm saying. And the East Coast people that didn't want to live there, right? For whatever, it's not based off of economics necessarily, but it's based off of like cultural economics. The reason why Californians moved over here is because like everything's cheaper here, and we have a lot of land and resources, and so they actually can like do their businesses. They can like, you know, create the things they want to create over here. You know what I'm saying? That's why they moved here. And then, you know what I'm saying? Texans, like, we're basically people that are in the South and whatnot, right? Southern mentality, Southern aspects now have completely moved to the Southern region, which is, you know, your Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, you know, Georgia, Louisiana type of states and whatnot, right? And so that even that mentality, but like people there in the South, they already have their independence, they have what they want, and so now it's like it's time for them to move north. You see what I'm saying? So people that are from the East are supposed to move north, New York City and stuff like that, you know, because they have it already. You know, they probably get degrees in technology and stuff like that, work from home. They don't need to go out, so they can go to places that don't need like hard labor. You know what I'm saying? And then the people that were working in those areas and whatnot, right? New York and more communications and like things like that, they don't have hard labor there. They can move to California because California definitely is not going to use hard labor, and you need to have the money to live there. And so it's mostly tech savvy. That's why people say it's on fire because it's like you have to be at the top echelon to like even work there to live there. You know, I gotta make a lot of money, but how you make all that money is because, in so many words, you're not making money when it comes to physical work. You're making money based off the internet, and that's like not a real place if you be honest with yourself, you know. And so like it's not about how much time you put in, how much work you actually produce. It's about how you can just you know hit copy and paste how many times, you know, type of thing. And so it's kind of like that, you know. So that's pretty much what that situation is. And so, and plus, you can also set your own prices on things. Like you can just say whatever. Like, oh, this is $100. You know, it's like the internet. You know, so that's what that's about. And so that's why this cycle thing. But you have to know how to map it based off of who you are. You know, so it would have been best if I was still wanted to live in Texas. I would have to go to like the east or those southern states. You know what I'm saying? If I want, but most people you can't do that now because now we're on a shift where it's like you have to do it on a level where what do you want to do? You know, with your life and who you are. And once you can figure that out, you know, based off of the like the economics, you can now figure out what you want to do. So I remember meeting somebody when I was traveling who was from Michigan or north and going south, and it's like, well, why do you go south? Well, Michigan, all that stuff, they usually used to have like in the very industrial era, which was for a long time now with the oil and gas thing. It was about like, you know, industrialized. So there was like factory jobs, things like that. So they had jobs over there. But where are you gonna go now where all you know how to do is hard labor? So you have to go down south, where these Californians that are coming in with all this money to create these businesses are gonna have jobs for you. And if that's what that was about. And so, and plus Texas is cheap, you could live here on a job. And so that's what that was about. So moving to the south, that made sense, you know. And I didn't realize that. I thought I was supposed to go left, like go clockwise. So I thought I was supposed to go to California. So I tried to go in that direction, but then I realized that's not where I should have went. You know what I'm saying? Because California is Texas now, but I wanted to go to California for what? Not for those aspects where for California used to be. You know what I'm saying? And so who's in California now is New Yorkers, and that's based off of the fact that they can build wealth basically, other than manual labor jobs and stuff like that. More like and using their brain, you know. And so based off of that, it's like I should have just went to New York. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm from the South. I could probably go to I should have went to New York on that aspect, or go up to to Michigan and stuff like that. You know, but I'd have to do it differently. You know, I'd have to be more tech savvy and things like that. And so that's really what the notion was supposed to be like over there, or maybe like like the Northwest area, the West, things like that. That's where I should have went. Even the Southwest would have been somewhat better, for my development. And I could see little glimpses of that, when I was in my travels in Austin and stuff. But it's just like it's just crazy to see like you know all this stuff like conspiring, and the way I'm looking at it, and it's just like everywhere in Houston, it's just like it's so run down. Like we used to actually have really nice places to go and do things to do, and it's at a point where it's so run down. It's like people are not leaving their house. I always see places people don't even leave the house anymore, like at all, like at all. And I understand too because like there's so much homelessness now because of this inflation. It's this drainage of people that are outdated and their mindsets are outdated and they don't serve the system anymore, or these systems, saying that these people in power are trying to keep, uphold. It's just crazy to see like how there's nobody outside except crackheads because crack is cheap. You can make it. You know what I'm saying? They're not even doing like good drugs anymore. They're doing like cheap bullshit drugs that just fuck you up, fuck up the mind, and it's just kind of crazy to see all this, and see how like it's just everything's dying down. You can't even get like a regular job anymore. Like you have to like be tech savvy. I forgot who said it. Some singer, black guy, perm, big black guy, dark skin, goatee. I don't know his name, but he said it. I saw an interview on Instagram or something like that. Like he said, like one day you to just have a regular job, you have to know how to program a computer. And so and they're saying that our cities look like circuit boards, and things are getting faster. Right, the spiritual community says things are getting faster and faster, and it's like it's not just getting faster. Things are getting faster. Like the bus I used to take to leave this neighborhood to get into the city and just to be around civilization, in so many words, like literally used to be like every 30 minutes. So if you miss the bus, you have to wait outside for an hour. Now it comes every 10 to 15 minutes. Like what's happening? So things are just moving more quickly, more efficiently, more faster, and it's going to be like current. Currency, like current. So it's going to be like a circuit board. Like if we get faster and faster and faster cars, these Teslas are going to like, it's going to be like iPhones. They're going to like keep on upgrading it faster and faster, and they don't even drive their cars anymore. So it's like those older Teslas are going to be like, given to the poor people. It's like that's how cars work now. And so it's like just see that's going to start happening too. It's like what Teslas are going to get better. What Teslas are going to get better. So it's like oh my gosh, like you know, like we're gonna be working like cities are gonna be like little circuit boards. And they're gonna be running really, really efficiently and fast, so fast that it's like you can't keep up. And so you're not gonna see people out on the streets anymore. Like we're just like almost like we just go inside, charge our batteries, then come back out, and then like move around what we need to do. And so it's like just to see all this. So it's like you really have to ask yourself where you want to be in life, and what do you want to take advantage of, you know? But also, the first foundation is who you are. And so I think that's what the most important thing is, to like really know who you are and know what you want, and really just go straight after it. You can't, like, there's no postponing, no prerequisites, none of that, because like it's just a waste of time to sit there and do all that. You know, like you really have to really just go after what you want. You know, because once you do that, you wouldn't have to sit here and try to figure out the problem while the problem's happening. You can step away and just focus on what you know knew to be the problem in the first place. You know, I think that's about it. I don't want to waste too much of your time. I took about 30 minutes of your time, but yeah, I think that's confirmation. Let me get out of here. I don't know. I might go to the library today or something, chill out, maybe record some other things over there, but we'll see. See you later.